Dear participants of the International Youth Conference for Peace in the Future, welcome to August 11, the Ecology Day, as we have decided to call it. First of all, let us switch to our presentation in order to learn what is waiting for us today. And in the very beginning, I would like to thank you and your teams for the excellent work you've been doing and are even continuing to do today. I see new and new posts appearing on your social networks dedicated to the festivals that can be celebrated in your cities and countries, to the dances, the traditional attire, the traditional food, and even to people that live in your countries and cities. Thank you greatly. So this is the culture part, and now to the ecology part. Our today's expert is Ms. Irina Guschina from Volgograd State Agrarian University. Ms. Guschina is going to talk to you about a long-term strategy. What kind of strategy? Well, let's say you want to do a campaign at your school or at your college. It can be an anti-drug campaign, an anti-violence campaign, or on the other hand, peace promotion campaign, the volunteer work campaign, anything. However, as soon as you start planning, you'll discover that you need to think about a whole lot of small but important moments. How to attract participants, how to think of the events that will obviously demonstrate the value and usefulness of your cause. How to make sure that these events do not interfere with the schedule of your exam sessions or national holidays. How to find resources like time, materials, or money, or how to recruit those who can help with these resources. How to make sure that people learn about your events on time and see their results clearly. All these and many more questions will be raised by Ms. Irina Guschina in her presentation, in which she will use as an example her university's strategy in organizing a campaign dedicated to teaching students and personnel to think ecologically. Please, Елена Анатольевна.
Я слышу.
Hello, everyone. Let me start my report. A few technical problems. A second, please. Well, recently, the Russian Strategic Initiatives Agency and the Skolkovo Innovation Center together released the Atlas of Emerging Jobs, showing their prognosis about how the labor market will have developed by 2030. It predicts that in about 5-10 years, 57 professions such as a tour agent or an accountant will disappear, and 200 completely new professions will emerge, located on the crossroads of the old ones. This means then, in order to be valued at a job, one needs to obtain a wide variety of different skills. Another interesting thing about this Atlas of Emerging Jobs is that it features a list of super professional skills, that is, the ones necessary in all professions. And among these 12 skills, 6 of which you can see on this slide, there is ecological thinking. Why is it important? The world nowadays is crumbling under the baggage of ecological problems, water and air pollution, ocean and soil problems, climate changes, and such problems keep multiplying at the time we have for serving them is running out. Therefore, there are more and more jobs opening in the ecological sphere: sustainable development managers, eco-teachers, eco-trainers. The number of ecology-related jobs is expected to increase by 80% each year. Mind, we are not speaking about ecologists alone. There will be more and more professions that require the ability to organize a process so that it can decrease or neutralize the negative impact on the environment. Ecological thinking is an important skill in everyone's life because everyone's life is closely tied to nature and directly depends on it. Nature gives us everything we need, and while its resources are limited, our consumption is increasing along with the Earth's population. Our duty then is to optimize our consumption so that the future generations can live comfortably too. The topic of ecology is prioritized both on the regional and the national levels. Let us be reminded of the nationwide project called Ecology and many more similar examples. On the 15th of July 2021, another large-scale project was launched in our country, the Russia-wide Marathon of Ecological Initiatives. Why is the project so special and important? The main word in its title is initiative. The project calls on each marathon participant not only to take part in the existing initiatives, but also to suggest their own ideas. In other words, it is planned as a nationwide brainstorm. The suggestions submitted by the participants will become the project's direct continuation. If we speak about educational institutions and what they can do, let us name two main areas: preparing professionals in the sphere of ecology and sustainable development, promoting and cementing an ecological culture. To achieve the first goal, we develop educational programs and establish whole institutes of sustainable development. However, it's not enough to speak about ecological agenda to schools and colleges. It is important to actually realize specific eco-saving projects and practices in educational institutions and make sure that not only students, but also teachers take part in them. We do not learn from words, but from actions when we see what's around us and take an active part in it. Without ecological education, neither students nor their teachers understand how all processes are connected, and as a result, do not realize how they impact the world around us. Therefore, I believe that educational institutions should not only speak about ecology, but include concrete ecological initiatives in their daily life to prove their dedication. In Volgograd State Agrarian University, for example, we have an ecology project office. It exists in the form of a public association made up of our university students and staff united by the common interests and wishing to preserve natural environment and draw public attention to the issues of ecological development in the Volgograd region. So let's say you are a school or a college and you want young people to start thinking ecologically. What can you begin with? The first, administrative aspect. Think of a program of eco-education. It will be your event plan, best of all for 1 year. It will help you formulate your goals and expected results, as well as determine the criteria to evaluate your progress. What can your goals be? To keep the target audience, students or personnel informed, for example, in a year's time, 90% of students, teachers will be aware of the events you are organizing. Because, for example, you post updates about them on your website once a week and on your social network 3 times per week, to engage your target audience in programs events. For example, in 6 months time, 80% of your students will be separating their weights and more than 20% will be taking part in your programs events on a regular basis. To attract partners, let's say in a year's time, you will have 3 business partners supporting your program. The same rule applies to separate events on the program. You should keep in mind what results you expect from each of them. I may sound pretentious when I speak of business partners, but these may be any organizations of nature reserves that wish to take part in an eco action. They can support you by providing transport, rubbish bags, gloves, or drinking water. Next, make a regulating document with your school's basis ecological concept. This document will describe the principal direction of your work on the development of eco initiatives. Such a document can include your more global goals. For example, our ecological project office has such a document. Create a social network page for your organization, or use the already existing platforms to promote eco lifestyle among your students and teachers. The Ecological Project Office of Volgograd Agrarian University has its own pages on Instagram and Vkontakte, Russian Facebook. The Vkontakte page is administered by a student, and the Instagram page by our professor and ex-student who is actively involved in the work of our project office. Make use of public advertising. Bright and clear media, posters, cards, videos, information stands can help draw more attention to eco problems and promote eco thinking. In Volgograd State Agrarian University, we put such posters in the main hall. Work with the teaching staff and other personnel. If your goal is to develop eco-culture in your organization, make sure to have your colleges involved because their support is a crucial component. All teaching staff must work on this together. When it comes to teachers, though, your argumentation must be more science-oriented. Plus, you might need to think of a motivation system. The role of college administration in the ecological initiatives to organize the participation of students and teaching staff in various ecological events on the college level, on the city level, etc. Here, I have to thank our own university, which always grants us permission and assistance when we take part in the Russia-wide riverbank cleaning initiative, in the litter collecting initiative, tree planting projects, and many others. To organize volunteer-based eco programs or join the already existing ones, to establish a system of support and motivation for students who come up with eco initiatives, to introduce the concepts of responsible consumption and responsible procurement into your daily facility management. For example, make it a rule for your personnel to reuse stationery whenever possible, such as a folder, page protectors, etc. As an example, I would like to again cite the team of the Eco Project Office at our Agrarian University. Our team began with a waste paper collection initiative. It was a simple thing, an invitation sent to our department's email, an application to be filled with the team name. But this was the event that motivated our team for further action. Later, the same paper collection team joined another initiative organized by the Green Colleges Association of Russia. Eventually, they made the top 10 in the list of 3 saving universities. What was our incentive for the participation? We wanted volunteering activities to become a consumptive component in our students' spiritual and moral training. Conferences. To hold regular eco-themed events, conferences, festivals, lectures, both in our university and together with the other colleges with students and teaching taking part in them. For example, in Volgograd State Agrarian University, we have an annual international scientific and practical conference for young scholars. We organized a platform for write and check your knowledge ecological dictation and organized eco-festivals to publish information about the events planned and the reports about the events done on your website and social network. You can use your social network page on a section on your website to put up any relevant document, event announcements, or reports about them, as well as photos and relevant information materials. To invite students to write their own reports and posts about the eco initiatives done in your organization. Do a web digest on your website and in social networks. There are 10 steps towards the creation of an eco-education program in your educational organization. Check your current situation. It is the first. How efficient are your current activities in terms of their impact on eco-education in your organization? Set your goals. For example, to improve eco-culture and responsible consumption among your students and teachers. Third, choose your program's target audience. Define who you are addressing directly, students, teaching staff, etc. And your secondary audience, those who directly influence your target audience. For example, your students, teachers. Four, determine your goals. As soon as you determine your target audience, you should also answer the following questions. What exactly do you want to change? What habits is your target audience expected to develop and maintain? 5, media support. Find a way to keep your target audience informed, engaged in your agenda. Be it open lectures, personal encounters, conferences, competitions, websites, social networks, announcements, videos, etc. 6, count the resources you need. What resources do you need for the program and how much of them? Which of them are already available and which need to be procured? People, time, finance. 7, plan the time schedule. While making your program's plan, mark both the key milestones and important dates, both internal like exam session dates, academic conferences, holidays and festivals, and external like the events and flash mob that you will be organizing yourselves. 8, identify performance indicators. For example, how many students will be involved in the program's events in a year's time. 9, rate all program events in terms of their usefulness for your organization. Ask yourself each time, will this event support the image of your educational organization, correspond to your goals and tasks, as well as improve the atmosphere inside? Throughout the human history, a university has been a society of educated people who look and rate all processes and events first and foremost in terms of their relevance to the interest of people and the whole humankind. Today, it is obvious that the only way to make our society develop in a sustainable and safe way is for us to obtain the new knowledge about environment, new technologies, and new modes of behavior. Thank you for your attention.
In my turn, I too would like to thank Ms. Guschina greatly for her most informative and concise presentation. Now, if you have any questions, We will be happy to arrange the question and answer session without translation. Then, if there are currently no questions, I guess we can just congratulate ourselves on having such a wonderful lecturer today. Thank you very much, Irina Anatolievna. We were very happy to see you. And your lecture has given us much food for thought that we will later use during our discussions. And if no comments or questions follow, I suggest that we wave goodbye to Ms. Guschina. Thank her again for her presentation and involvement. Well, moving to our organization matters. If any of you remember the program that we distributed, which was dated July 30, by this lecture, it is most obvious how much our program has changed. For example, today I initially had some questions about culture, and now we're talking ecology. Well, why I'm speaking about it? Earlier today, I had a question from Dalее, Team 2, about whether it was necessary to complete also the tasks mentioned in the program that we sent before, but not mentioned in our presentations, which I make for every meeting. The answer is no. Why the program was called preliminary and a draft? Because we are changing it constantly, judging by how much time we, and most importantly, you have. So just don't worry about the program. The only tasks you need to follow are the ones that I'm sending after each meeting. That's it. And you are doing splendidly with them. And as we move to our next task, which is, you said, a discussion session, let me speak again about the questions that you will have. A huge hit that world ecology and environment have taken is the remnants and consequences of the pandemic now already. So let us speak today about how the pandemic influenced world ecology during this year and a half, and maybe give some suggestions about what can we do about it on a daily basis. You are welcome to use any hints and examples of initiatives suggested by our experts. As our discussion rooms are ready, I will copy and paste these questions into our chat. And you have in your teams 20 minutes to speak about it. Is everybody here? Oh, I guess so. So, dear IYCPF teams, as usually, we would appreciate to learn your thoughts and comments about the discussion session. And following our random order, I guess that today we can begin, if you don't mind, with team number 2, Piece of Peace. The floor is yours, please.
Okay. So hello everyone. So here's our answer for first question. So as we know, our ecological situation in the world is getting worse. So because of technological progress has changed our planet, and as a result, here's our natural resources are exhausted, and the pandemic situation is getting it worse too. So during the pandemic situation, people used too much meal and food delivery, and that means it's too much plastics bags as a trash, and we did use so many masks. And so next. Okay, and also we use a lot of plastic when using in the clinic all medical stuff that we need. Like all hospitals go to the like emergency mode, and we using droppers, syringes, needles, medicine containers, and everything. I think make our ecology worse. Also, we use a lot of gloves, like all medical staff use this every day for each patient that we like treat. And also we need a lot of electricity to sterilize medical instrument for our patients. Okay, and the next point is for Mohammed.
Yes. So in COVID-19 pandemic, we use water more than before. For example, for hand washing or wash the things that we bought out of home. And it can cause a reduction of water resources. That's it. Next, please.
Okay, and finally, I want to say about a different point of view. The pandemic is kind of good for ecology because we have to stay home and we don't drive cars, and the economy was stopped, and a lot of public transportation such as plane was canceled or stopped. So I think that about the pollution, ecology has improved a little bit. That's the different point of view, but I think it's true. And next, I want to move on to the second question, which is what can we do for like daily basis for ecology? Is we have 7 points, and I want to say about 2 points. First, we should do like homemade food. We cook it at home, and for the sake of the not wasting the plastic package, like when we go to the supermarket, maybe we can buy something, but that means we waste some plastic. So we can cook at home, and we can reduce the waste of the plastic. And the second point is that we have to have our own shopping bags. So recently, a lot of plastic bags are wasted, and it's really bad for Earth. So maybe we should bring our own bag, like made of cotton or something like that, so we can reduce the trash of the plastic bag. Thank you.
Okay, also we suggest to don't use a lot of paper, because paper is a really necessary resource of our planet. A lot of woods are destroyed because of us, because of people. And we suggest just do all your notes, maybe essays or something else on your gadgets, because we have a lot of opportunities to use internet, to use your gadgets like your phone, your laptop, your computer, and so on. The next step, how to make our ecology better, maybe we should reuse all our things that we have. For example, it could be clothes. We can reuse our old clothes, change it, transform this, or maybe we can present this to people who need it, really need it. Or for example, it can be recycled, like your clothes maybe can help to create something new, some new clothes, for example. Yes, and as you know, guys, we have 2 dentists in our team, and of course we should say about brushing your teeth. Like you should turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth, because we are brushing our teeth like about 2 or 3 minutes, and this 2-3 minutes is really good for our ecology if you turn off your water. And the next one, Leo.
Okay, and the second is we can set the classes and for people how to make the ecology better, and because we know we need to improve our people's awareness about how to ecology. It's very important for our all of the world. And the seventh is to be a volunteer. I think it's good for ourselves, and it's good for another. So you are volunteering, and they can know and they can see what you are doing now, and now they can join us. And I think it's very good for this. Yeah, and we can do some cleanup and just to influence others people. Yeah, thank you. That's
Yeah.
it.
And in the end, we think we should say that all changes in the world starts from you. Like, we should control ourselves to make our ecology better. That's all. That's it.
Great. Well, Tinto, I think next we shall be inviting you to become our lecturers on ecology and what can be done about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Then Team 1, Catalysts for Peace. I'm very interested now whether you were unanimous in your opinion on how pandemic influenced the ecology, or did you agree to differ? Team 1, what do I have to add, please?
Is my voice going through?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. We've had mixed opinions, not because we were against each other's ideas. We had different points of view that we could see it in a positive way and also a negative way. Firstly, from Japan, we've noticed that a lot of companies started delivery service because we couldn't go out and eat at restaurants or cafes. And some companies, there are some new companies that only do delivery businesses. I think 3 or 4 main ones, but much more. I've noticed that they use lots of plastic and one-use materials, and that obviously isn't a good impact to the world. Also, the government limited us from going outside. It wasn't really like a lockdown compared to the other countries, but we were restricted, and also because of that, the number of people going out to places decreased. And I think Piece of Peace also said this, but the carbon dioxide caused by cars and buses have gone down. So that's a good point compared to the delivery service. Another good point was that because people didn't go to seas or forests for camping, the beaches and other natural places are actually, some places are actually getting cleaner because people don't go there and trash. From Russia, we saw that because people had more free time because of the pandemic and the lockdown, people could see around themselves and started searching for information about how to recycle and new places for recycling and so on. Yeah, so that was a good point from Russia. The girl from Philippines said this, but I think this is all around the world. Piece of Peace also said about face masks and hand gloves and how they become such a big waste because you can't it's difficult for people to reuse them, and because people don't understand how to dump them properly, they throw these away openly, and that could cause the spread of ecological contamination. In answer to the second question of what can we do about it on a daily basis, in Japan, we learned, this is interesting, I think. In Japan, we learned that buying a product is like voting for the product. So, for example, if you buy a red apple compared to the green apple, you're voting for the red apple. Even if you like it or not, even if you choose it just for the cheapness, you're voting that you like it. So, by all of us voting for the products with less packaging or smaller carbon footprints, I think that could really change the company's point of view. They could really begin to see that what products are selling and what products are not. And if those products which are selling the better ones for the environment, I think that could really be a big change. From Volgograd, we found out that there are lots of recycling places, lots and lots of them, where you can recycle paper and bottles when they collect them for free. And this girl told me that she didn't know it beforehand, and she knew it afterwards. And I think it's a really important thing for us to actually search ourselves what we can do instead of just waiting there for something to happen. Yeah. And lastly, Philippines said that the shopping bags became a must in some places. You had to bring them in. And also single-use plastics are used for wet goods only in some places. And finally, I think this is very small, but it's a really big thing to do. Is there's small things like turning off the lights when you leave a room, throwing away garbage into the bin so they're not left on the streets. There's small things that you do. I think collected together, if everybody does them, becomes a big movement. And I think even those tiny things, they can become a great impact to the world. Thank you. That's it for Catalyst of Peace.
Thank you very much, and also for addressing the experience of every country in your team. I didn't know about some of these things, that the Philippines has started even banning plastic bags in supermarkets. I hope in Russia we join it too. Now, what about we turn to the team Peace and Friendship, please?
For the first question, how has the pandemic influenced world ecology? The pandemic has changed the way we live and work, as various health and safety restrictions keep more of us at home more often. We all agree that there are so many negative consequences of the pandemic, such as increase of medical waste, haphazard use and disposal of disinfectants such as and masks and gloves, and also the face shields, and the burden of untreated wastes continuously endangering the environment. I think we all also agreed that there are also some positive effects of the pandemic, not saying in a privileged way, but it's like opinion that the pandemic situation significantly improved the air quality in different cities across the world, reduces gas emissions because the number of vehicles drastically decreased because of the restrictions, and lessens water pollution and noise, and reduces the pressure on the tourist destinations, which may assist with the restoration of the ecological system. And for the second question, Pauline, can you please?
Hi, so for the second question, what can we do about it on a daily basis? So I think that even though most of us are at our homes, there are still tons of ways that we can do to make sure that we are protecting and preserving the environment. Number one is making sure that we have full responsibility of our medical waste. Like what we've said, we are using face masks and face shield gloves to make sure that we are safe, but we also have to make sure that none will be affected, like animals. So we have to have full control of where we throw our wastes. Throw them in the proper garbage. Don't throw them around or anywhere, because some animals might run around with them and play with them, and it's not safe for them. And also, since most of us are at homes, I think we have full control of preserving water and using long-lasting light bulbs. And we can also engage in various activities like tree planting or just planting. A lot of Filipinos here are having fun with such activities. A lot of people have started planting trees and various plants as well, which I think is not only a way to relieve their stress, but also to help and contribute in preserving the environment. And then one thing that I think has already been mentioned is when you're gonna go outside to shop for your basic needs, bring your own eco bag to lessen the usage of plastic waste. And one thing that I think is very important is public awareness. We can still continue to educate people and volunteer through the media, which I think is a great medium for us to advocate in preserving peace and for the environment as well. So that will be all for us. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Thank you for raising the question of tourist destinations, because you remember all those pictures in the internet that the nature here and there has cleaned so much that dolphins returned, dinosaurs returned. So I agree that it has decreased the pressure. Then, what shall I say? Maybe team 3, great mates. Can we hear from you, please?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Now I'm going to answer the first question. I combined all the answers from our teammates. So in our opinion, every coin has two sides. So far, we have had more than about 3 million deaths over world because of the coronavirus in 2019. The humans have suffered from the poverty and hunger due to the economic breakdown of their country. So we began to use a lot of plastic packaging and many disposable things like masks, gloves, and dishes and others. And they are very destructive to the nature. All these plastic things are not easy to recycle. So we have a huge problem in our epidemic. But for the environment and the wildlife, there are some benefits from the epidemic because the human travel less than before. So we did not experience much pollutions and destroys in the living condition of the animals. And due to the reduction of the journeys of human, fewer people are hitting or killing wildlife in the nature. So the wildlife were able to return to their habitats, and a lot of rivers and lakes and forests will be clear because we are set on our self-isolation. Let's welcome the second teammate.
Yes, for the solution for previous question, we had less use of transportation, which means there's two options. Well, less use of transportation, which is produce CO2s, and the second one is to change the transportation which you use. For example, like if you were using cars before the pandemic, you can change it to maybe bike or walk. And then the second is reduce the use of plastics. And then third is using renewable energy instead of oil to produce electricity. And also reducing the consumption of land resources and educating people about the negative effect of environmental damage. And for the last, we can do posting activities, like post a message to promote others to do like we do. This is, I guess this is the end of our opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, good. Actually, I too do hope that at least some of the habits that we acquired during the pandemic will catch. Like, it is dangerous to use the bus because the bus is crowded. I will walk on foot or take a bike. Maybe after the pandemic, we'll be doing it more as well, but already for health purposes. And last but not the least, Team Peace Education Movers. Can we hear from you now, please?
Good day, everyone. So I'll be starting for our group. So we have the positive and the negative influence of the pandemic to the ecology. So a lot of groups already said a lot of things about, and I really commend everyone for telling that, and we could be informed about it. So the positive thing that I know that already being said, but I want to open it again, that the situation of our atmosphere, the situation of our, okay, thank you. So the situation of our air, the situation of our air is getting better during those times of the quarantine, because people are not allowed to go outside. So we chose to stay and also to have bond with our family. But one thing that is the negative counterpart of that positive thing is that we are not allowed to go outside. So I could say that we are less exposed to our environment. For us, our group, we really believe that we humans and our other organizations should be exposed to the environment, because it will keep us live and also to learn a lot of lessons from those, and also it promotes mental health, healthy mental health, because that is one of the things that is one of the problem of our generation, also the youth nowadays, is that we are not exposed to environment, we are not exposed to different activities. We always choose social media rather than going outside. So I really do believe that there's also the negative impact of ecology to the organisms. So the number one negative, the next negative part is that already said, is that the medical waste has been a lot, as in not just a lot, but a tons. And it is really one of the things that we should segregate it properly. So I just want to share a simple rule here in the Philippines when we are in school, that every school in the Philippines have 3 trash bin. So we have the 3 trash bin rule, the reuse, the reduce, reuse, recycle trash bin. So it is being, all students should segregate their waste every time that they have something in their hands, because it is the rule. And after the class, they have the responsibility to segregate it to a bigger trash bin. So the simplest ways that our group think is that throwing trash can in right places, and of course say no to plastics and one-use items. So here, not really the most part of the Philippines, but in the part of the Philippines and also on other countries that I already read, is that they use banana leaves, they use some clean papers to be an alternative to their bags and also to packages of their goods. And next is, we really do believe that joining this conference is really a big help on how can be able to help the ecology, because we take actions in the simplest ways that we can, like the social media influence, the social media education. For me, it's a big impact that we could be able to educate other people through these ways. And also, next is, let's talk about this to our circles. Every people have a circle of friends, circle of family. So the things that we learn here, I really do believe that we really do believe that it should be shared, because a knowledge that is being stored, it is not a healthy knowledge, because a knowledge should be shared. And next is, we should support, next is, I don't know how many it is. So we should support businesses who support the environment. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Splendid. Speaking about this reduce, reuse, and recycle strategy, I just remember that in the beginning of the pandemic, there were again lots of comments and pictures on the internet, usually with a face palm next to them, about Russian citizens taking their single-use masks, washing them, and drying them in an oven. So at first, people were laughing, but now when I come to think of it, it was us being eco-friendly, actually. In our household, at least, not a single mask is single-use. Thank you guys very much for your discussions. If you don't mind, I will once again make something like a picture plus a quotation combination of them for the Instagram, because I liked how it worked last time. And now let's switch to the last part of today's meeting, which is your homework. Homework or teamwork. Wait, why doesn't it let me do a demonstration? Yes. Today, your team task will be doing a quiz about Volgograd. It is a huge pity that we cannot take you on a tour around our city, around its museums and most popular landmarks ourselves, because each of us is now in our respective cities. But we tried to work around this problem by offering you 15 questions about our city's history, culture, and geography, its iconic and even mythic places. So the task for each team will be to find answers for these questions, which will be multiple choice. In order to add competition aspect to it, I would be happy to receive all your answers from your leaders by the morning of August 13. That is, of the day when we have our last meeting, so that I can quickly count who was the best. And if everyone was the best, I will have to take into account who was the first to submit the answers. Before you ask or think about it, Googling is allowed. I believe it's okay. And Russian teammates, please don't solve all those questions by yourself. Leave something for your friends too. So you'll receive this quiz from me by email, along with today's presentation. So that is it for today, I guess. The last thing I'd like to remind you about, I already received videos for the online concert from Volgograd, lots of them, from Hiroshima. If there are any videos that you would like me to put on the YouTube channel of our conference, please send them today or tomorrow, because tomorrow I will be too busy putting them all online. Now, if there are again any questions or comments, I'll be glad to hear them and try to answer. And otherwise, I can only thank you again greatly for your work, for our today's discussion, for your attention and for your involvement. Next time we meet on August 13th. And if by that time, cultural presentation. Yes, if by that time you put together a presentation about the videos that you sent for the concert, or, well, let us actually think about it. Would you prefer to work again in teams or in cities? Because next time it would be good to give you some floor for cultural presentation again. What would you prefer? To use this platform for your teams to speak about what you put on Instagram, or in cities to speak about what your cities and culture are about? In cities, we have divergent opinions. Well, I would prefer we stick to cities, actually. Just take, if you already posted, after all, you're posting on Instagram the things relevant to your cities and your countries. So you can just take this and put into your team presentation, for your city presentation for the next time, okay? And if you decide in your city to speak about the video you made, the better. So then, another task for you at home will be in cities to prepare presentations dealing with your city's culture. So it's quiz and city presentation, okay? Okay. Excellent then. Thank you for pointing this out. Then expect an email from me very, very soon. And our meeting for today is over. Thank you and have a nice
Thank
rest
you.
the rest of the
Goodbye.
day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.